So I just want to say something. And I'm noticing it come out more and more about the rioting and protesting and things like that. And it's really frustrating, to say the least. I think that for years, brown and black people, for centuries, have been holistically colonized, mind, body, spirit, as well as, working our way into learning more about our identity, who we are, our culture, trying to rope into our culture while consistently, daily, watching the murders and modern day lynchings of our people. And for it to be a constant reminder every single day that it's a constant reminder that one, slavery did happen, two, it feels almost impossible for us to get over it, because the more we attempt to get over it, more things happen without apology, without reconciliation, without changed behavior. And so how can we move forward? How can we get over it, as so many people want to say, if it's continuously happening? Like any apology comes with first, any great apology, a real apology comes with first awareness, and agreeing that some action has happened. And then, how can we make sure this doesn't happen again? And not just with words, but actions. Actions always speak louder than words. And for the past centuries, it just seems more of a sneaky way of doing the same colonizing tactics. And I feel like, when I hear brown and black people or other ethnicities, but specifically brown and black people, say things like, why are they rioting? Or why are they still protesting? And all these other different things. And it's really frustrating to hear from anyone, because if you understand the history, and not just the basic history, but actually understanding the economic disparities, the historical, the identity, the cultural disparities within our communities, brown and black communities, then you would understand why. There's so much, and why is it that we have to constantly say we need to be peacefully resisting? Whoever won a peaceful resistance? Let's get real. That never. And it's the same, rhetoric that I hear, where it's like, well, Dr. King would have been, upset about that, and Dr. King would be frustrated that people aren't being being peaceful. And it's if we're being real, if we're being honest with ourselves, and we really look at history, that didn't help Martin Luther King out either, being peaceful. And okay, we got integration, which was his original dream, but if you go back, you'll see that he actually claims that initial dream was a nightmare to him, because he realized the damage that it did to our communities, with the lack of economic power. And the more that we attempted to have more economic power, the more it got destroyed, the more people were killed. The Oklahoma, I'm sorry, it's so much. We've got Oklahoma, we've got Louisiana, we've got pretty much something very significant and terrible, and on the lines of genocide in almost every state. And if you go back and look at that, Virginia, all these different places where there were riots, where there was bombing, and every single time that brown and black people have organized peacefully to make a point and to help the community, that there has been something, or corporations, organizations, government officials, and even our own people, that go against us. So yes, people are not feeling heard. What do you do when you don't feel heard? You get louder, you scream louder, you may do things that are ridiculous because you don't feel like anybody's listening to you. And how many times, how many years, how many people are going to die? How many centuries are going to go past before people realize, wow, we should stop focusing on just the fact that there's riots and damaged property and that there's actual lives getting killed. And I don't know what, I just think that it's just the wrong focus. And for people to constantly have the focus on, oh my gosh, look how they're reacting before looking at the action that created that reaction. And no, I don't think it's logical. And of course it's not logical. It's emotional. It's an emotional thing that one day after the other, you have to see someone dead, and maybe even publicly on lives, on, social media, murdered. And then we just have to move on as if it didn't happen, and get over it. It's bringing it back up to that, and we wonder why, we have all these different suicides and people handling things in a negative way. Because when we, even in the peaceful protesting, it's a problem. When it's not a peaceful protest and it ends up, getting the light of something else and being made as something else. Now this is a violent crowd. Now this is, everything except for what it really is, which is hurt people trying to be heard. Hurt people just trying to have a voice and say, listen, and do something finally, And for me personally, I'm just, I've been talking about this since I was in elementary school. And I think that it's very sickening to see the way 2020 still is. And you know what? You can't speak for how Dr. King would have wanted a peaceful protest, because, at this point, if it's been, even from the 60s, 40 plus 20, 60 years since then, I'm pretty sure that he wouldn't still be trying to use a peaceful protest, okay? So I'm really gonna need people to chill out. If it hasn't been working this long, it's been over 60 years from 1960s, 1970s, 50, 60 years, and we're still dealing with the same situations, just, painted differently: police brutality, mass incarceration, So I just want to leave you all with, don't take everything for face value. Dig deeper, do your research, ask questions. When things aren't adding up, please ask questions. And, if your questions aren't getting answered by a certain person or people or whatever, go to the next. Look up scholarly articles, read the autobiographies of Black and brown people, and hear from their stories out of their mouths, because his story is only his story. It's one perspective. So dig deeper and, challenge yourself, challenge others' biases, and the way you view the world. It starts with us, and the change will begin when we really decide to do the work and challenge others to do the work. So thanks for coming to my mini rant / conversation, and I'm looking to hear from you all. Thanks for listening.